April 3rd, 2024, 11:42 a.m., Birmingham, UK. It started with a headache. Nothing serious, dull pressure behind the eyes, as if someone had pulled his brain too tight. Jude Everley had ignored worse. But after 3 days of blinding pressure and nosebleeds, he caved. One simple blood test, standard workup, nothing to worry about, until the nurse came back into the room with her brow furrowed and said, "Mr. Everley, do you know your blood type?" He blinked. "Yeah, B positive. Since I was a kid." She didn't answer immediately. "You're not anymore." The lab mix-up. Jude laughed at first. People don't change blood types. The nurse didn't laugh. The doctor confirmed it twice. A second draw. Retested. Verified. His blood was now showing O negative. Totally different Rh factor. No sign of a transfusion, no signs of chimerism. No records of bone marrow procedures or major trauma. His file had always said B+. Now, the records began contradicting themselves. "Sometimes labs mess up," they offered. Jude raised an eyebrow. "Twice." He leaves with questions. He walked out of the clinic with a dull, rising sense of unease. He Googled everything he could. Can blood types change? Blood mutations? Rare blood disorders? Each result ended in one phrase: not possible in healthy adults. And yet, his blood, his entire body was saying otherwise. He dug out his childhood medical ID from a filing cabinet. Sure enough, printed on the back. B positive. He flipped it over. Faint red speckles lined the bottom edge. He hadn't noticed them before. April 5th, new symptoms. The headache returned, this time sharper, inside the jaw. Then came the metallic taste. Jude bit his cheek and spit into the sink. The blood that came out wasn't red. Not fully. It was dark, purplish-black, like transmission fluid. He went cold, reached for his phone. As he tapped in nearest her, a drop of blood slid down his wrist. He followed it. It moved sideways, against gravity. Our visit, rejection. The hospital turned him away. "We don't see anything abnormal," the nurse said, even as she looked directly at the blood sample's iridescent swirl. He insisted. They repeated the test. This time, the printout came back blank. Just a blank square where his blood profile should have appeared. No antigens. No group. Just one word, handwritten at the bottom. Unreadable. Bag number 1. That night, he found the first bag in his freezer. Not his freezer, he hadn't been grocery shopping in a week. But there it was, small, transparent, labeled. Inside, a vial, his name printed on it. A red sticker marked, "Recalibration in progress." No note, no instructions. He placed it on the counter and stepped away. When he returned, the vial was gone. The bag was empty. Body changes. He stopped bruising. He tested it, pinched himself, dropped a heavy book on his foot. Nothing. His veins, once pale and blue, now traced black outlines under the skin, like a blueprint. At night, he could hear them vibrating. Not a pulse, something finer, like static beneath the skin. Voicemail from the clinic. The message came in at 3:14 a.m. Panicked voice. "Mr. Everley, please come back. We think your blood might be expressing external proteins." Then silence. He called back. The number was disconnected. He records himself. April 7th, 2024. He sets up a camera overnight, convinced something is happening while he sleeps. Watches the playback in the morning. At 3:14 a.m., he sits up, eyes open, and whispers, "She's rewriting it." Then, "We need to hollow the marrow next." He doesn't remember speaking, but his voice carries a second layer. Not an echo, another pitch, like someone else was using his vocal cords at the same time. Bag number 2. This time, he finds it under his pillow. Another vial. This one marked, Phase 2. Acquisition. Attached. A small, handwritten note. "You're carrying it well. The next drop should reach the lungs." He didn't understand, until he coughed that night, and blood misted the mirror. No pain. No warning. Just a sound like something stirring inside the ribcage. He can smell iron now, not just in blood, in the air, in people. On the bus, he turns to a woman sitting behind him and mutters, "You're anemic. Eat spinach." She freezes. "How do you know that?" He doesn't answer, but he does know. It's like his blood is listening to theirs. Bag number 3. He finds it in the back of his closet, between folded winter jumpers. Not placed, grown. It's fused to the fabric. This vial is labeled host source conversion 34%, and this time it's warm. When he touches it, something in his own veins tightens, contracts like a fist. He falls to his knees, and a single word rises to his lips. Redesign. Closing scene, April 7th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Jude lies in bed. His mouth twitches. From his nose, a thin line of black blood trails upward against gravity into the air. It curls, twists, forms a symbol, and then vanishes. He whispers, "Eyes still closed." It's not just different blood, it's someone else's, and they want it back. Jude's blood isn't mutating, it's being rewritten. With every drop, he's losing what made him himself, and something inside him is guiding the change. April 8th, 2024, 6:02 a.m., Birmingham, UK. Jude Everley woke up with a nosebleed, but it wasn't dripping from his nostrils. It was rising. A thin line of dark red streamed upward from the bridge of his nose to his forehead, curling like smoke before fading into his skin. He touched the spot where it vanished. The skin there was warm, and beneath it something was moving. He pressed harder, and felt a pulse that wasn't his. He visits a private lab. Too many hospitals had turned him away or pretended not to see what he saw. So Jude paid out of pocket. A private lab downtown agreed to test his blood off the books. The result wasn't a result at all. The scientist, a pale, glassy-eyed man in his 60s, sat him down and handed over a report with only one line. "Your blood is expressing proteins we can't trace. It's not evolving. It's remembering." Jude blinked. "What does that mean?" The man simply pushed his glasses up and said, "Your blood may not be yours anymore. Memory glitches." It started small. He forgot his Wi-Fi password, then his sister's birthday, then how to spell his own middle name. He stared at his license and whispered it out loud, but it sounded wrong in his mouth, like he was reciting someone else's details. He asked his mother on the phone, "Did you ever call me by a different name?" "No," she said, confused. "Why would I?" But her voice sounded far away, almost like a voice on tape. Bag number 4 appears, under his bed, half buried in dust. But the dust wasn't gray, it was reddish-black, like dried blood turned to ash. The vial inside was labeled. Layer 2 unlocked, memory tissue activated. When he picked it up, his nose bled again. Only this time, it spelled a word in droplets across the floor. GRTH? He didn't know the name, but it made his hands shake. The voice in the blood. That night, he tried something reckless. He microwaved a small sample of his blood to sterilize it, then dropped it into a glass of water and spoke aloud. "If someone's in there, speak." The lights flickered. The blood in the water coiled into a spiral. And then the glass shattered. From the spill on the counter, the same voice he'd heard in the voicemail returned, layered, vibrating. "You were the 4th to wear this type. You remember because we bled into you." The black thread returns. April 8th, 3:14 a.m. He woke to find a thin black thread extending from the vein in his wrist, not long, only a few inches, moving on its own. It slid across the sheet, gently wrapping around his fingers, then vanished back into his skin. In the mirror, his reflection smiled a half-second late. An unfamiliar letter arrives. In his post, a plain white envelope with no return address. Inside, a printed sheet. "We commend your compliance. Most hosts resist by now. You are entering phase 3. Blood is now suitable for transmission. Your body will begin to remember places that were never yours." Attached was a photo. A boy standing in front of an abandoned train station. 1990s, gray hoodie. Scrawled on the back in pencil. "Gareth, age 12, carrier 1. Jude tries to fight it. He fasts. Drinks only distilled water. Takes iron chelators. Tries bloodletting. He pricks his finger and squeezes the blood out. It doesn't look normal anymore. It's darker, viscous, and it evaporates within seconds. Not dries, disappears. He tries to record it. But on video playback, there's no blood at all. Only the words "thank you" written on his arm in his own handwriting. He dreams of places he's never been. Nightmares, but too vivid. He walks through alleyways he can draw from memory, finds cigarette butts with his name scratched into them, stares into puddles that show someone else's reflection. And every night he hears the same phrase in his ear. Your marrow is almost ours. Bag number 5 appears, taped to his ceiling. When he peels it off, the label reads, Phase 3 complete, personality shedding initiated. Inside the bag, a single hair. Not his. Not even human. Under a microscope, the follicle branches like a tree. The glass of water next to him turns red. He doesn't remember putting the vial in, but it pulses with something alive. Final scene, April 8, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Jude stands in the hallway, half asleep, half awake. He writes the word Gareth on the wall with his own blood, and then in a voice not his speaks. He remembers better through me. His own blood begins spelling names across the floor. Dozens. One of them, Jude, struck through. Jude's blood is expressing not just foreign proteins, but foreign memories. The person behind the blood is trying to surface, and Jude may not be able to stop them. April 9, 2024, 7:03 a.m., Birmingham, UK. Jude Everley stood motionless in the bathroom, staring at the message on the mirror, written in a dark, rust-colored smear. Shed what wasn't yours. He didn't remember writing it, but it was in his handwriting, and underneath, in smaller, fainter letters. Host identity is a placeholder. The teeth shift. That morning, his gums ached. Not the usual soreness. Something wriggled just beneath the surface. He opened his mouth. 3 molars were slightly tilted, angled inward, as if being pulled from within. He ran his tongue along the back of one. It felt smooth, not enamel. Like bone had started reshaping. The mirror showed what he didn't want to admit. One tooth had changed color. Dark gray. Not from decay, from origin. Photos start lying. He checks his ID. His face looks off. Slightly more angular. Paler. Hair thinner than it is in the mirror. He checks old Instagram photos. His jawline is different now. The spacing of his eyes is off. And on several of them, his name in the tag has changed from Jude Everley to G. Everley. He didn't change it. The app won't let him edit it back. Bag number 6 appears. In the mailbox. No postage. No note. This time the vial contains clotted blood, but it's separating. Half red. Half translucent black. The label. Gareth .003 stage transcription. Attached, a list. Bone. Tongue. Skin tone. Scent. Speech cadence. Each item is marked. Adjustment underway. He hears his own voice from the hallway. April 9th, 1:22 p.m. He's alone in the flat. Then, soft footsteps outside. And his voice, speaking calmly, says, It's not your skin. It's a rental. Don't panic. Just keep bleeding. He throws the door open. No one there. But the floorboards are damp with blood. And on the doorknob, a single fingerprint. Not his. The doctor won't see him. He returns to the private clinic. The door's locked. A sign in the window says, Practice closed. Subject stabilized. Someone had scrawled over the sign in pen. He came back in pieces. Don't touch him. His own name is slipping. He writes Jude on a piece of paper over and over. By the 5th time, it becomes good. Then Gareth. He stops. Stares at his hand. His veins vibrate slightly when he tries to write his own name. His signature has changed entirely. And it matches the handwriting on the first bag. Bag number 7, a memory extract. This one doesn't contain fluid. It holds a photograph. A black and white image of a boy in a hospital bed. Fur in his arm. Mouth open in mid-speech. The face is unfamiliar, and yet he knows it's him. On the back. Jude, secondary imprint. Gareth, bloodroot. Extraction complete. He talks in his sleep. Records audio again. Playback shows whispering. They tried to bury me in you. But blood remembers. Jude was the shell. I was the content. He stares at his reflection. I'm the drawer. You're the receipt. The mouth behind his teeth. April 9th, 3:14 a.m. He feels a bulge beneath his tongue. Something shifting. He opens wide in the mirror. A second ridge of flesh has formed beneath the normal arch of his mouth. Teeth. Small. Infant-like. Another row. His tongue twitches involuntarily. The new ridge whispers. Say it. Say my name. He does. Gareth. Final scene, April 9th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Jude stands shirtless, arms out. His skin flakes at the shoulders like it's preparing to peel. His blood runs visibly beneath the surface, dark, controlled, directional. He says calmly, "He was never gone. He was just under me." And from the new teeth behind his own, another voice answers, "Let's finish unmaking you. The blood was just the beginning." Jude's identity is unraveling layer by layer, and Gareth, whoever he was, is reforming the body from the inside out. Soon, even the skin won't be his. April 10th, 2024, 6:29 a.m., Birmingham, UK. Jude stood in front of the bathroom mirror with the lights off. Not because he couldn't face himself, but because the light made it worse. The moment the bulb flickered on, he saw two shadows in the mirror. His own, and another. Slightly taller. Slightly closer. Breathing out of sync. When he blinked, they didn't. The skin begins to change. It started on his back. A patch of skin the size of a coin began shedding in clean lines, like something peeled it deliberately. Underneath, skin that wasn't raw, but tighter. Paler. Grayer. It didn't bleed. It just replaced. The next patch followed 2 hours later on his chest. Then on his thigh. Each time, the skin sloughed off like paper, leaving behind a smoother, slightly reflective surface like it had already healed over. Bag number 8 appears. Duct-taped beneath the sink. This time, the bag is thicker. The vial contains no liquid. Instead, a piece of skin. Clearly human. Thin. Transparent. Curled at the edges. Label. Skin map phase 1 complete. Gareth host signature matched. 94%. Attached. A printed image of his own body overlaid with symbols. In red, completed areas. Nearly half his body was marked as transferred. The shower incident. April 10th, 12:03 p.m. He steps into the shower, water scalding hot. As the water hits his neck, he feels something crawl upward from between his shoulder blades. He reaches back, touches a patch of skin that feels scaly. He digs his fingernail into it. The skin tears cleanly, revealing not blood, but dark, netted capillaries glowing faintly beneath, and a single word etched just above his spine. Entry. He tries burning it. Desperate, he presses a heated knife to one of the changing patches. His skin should blister. Instead, it hisses. Then the new skin pulls tight, forming a smooth, metallic sheen. Not scar tissue. Armor. Bag number 9, the signature transfer. Found between the pages of a book he hasn't opened in years. No vial this time. Just a thin sliver of fingernail. Not his. Thicker. Curved. And a sticky note. This was yours before Jude. Keep it close. She'll finish stitching you tonight. He doesn't blink right anymore. April 10th, 8:41 p.m. He catches himself in the mirror. Realizes he hasn't blinked in over a minute. When he finally does, both eyes close at different speeds. And the second time, only one reopens. The other stares blankly for several more seconds, reflecting light like a dead animal's. People don't recognize him. At the corner shop, the clerk double takes. "You new around here?" "No, I come in every week." "Nah, mate, that's someone else." He walks home confused, passes a mirror in a bus shelter. He looks, then looks again. The reflection isn't wearing his hoodie. It's wearing the gray one from the photo in bag number 5. The voice solidifies. It no longer whispers. It talks. Full sentences. Full control. From behind his teeth. In a voice that's not his. "I walked once in this body. Now I shape it better." Jude tries to respond, but his lips move out of sync with his thoughts. The voice says, "You're the echo now." Bag number 10, the final layer. Taped to the back of his TV screen. Contains a folded sheet of synthetic skin, faintly warm with pores. Stamped across it, final layer printed. Implant pending. When he touches it, the pores contract. And for a second, he swears it breathes. Final scene, April 10th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Jude peels off a long, thin strip of skin from his chest. There's no pain. Underneath, a gray latticework. Sleek, perfect, already healed. His breath hitches. The mirror fogs. And both reflections say at once, "He fits now. The skin will follow the blood." Then they both smile. Only one set of teeth is human. Jude's body is nearly fully overwritten. The skin has begun realigning to a design encoded in blood. Not his, but Gareth's. Now the mirror shows not a reflection, but a memory trying to become real. April 11th, 2024, 6:21 a.m. Birmingham, UK. The reflection had stopped mimicking him. It still looked like Jude mostly, but its gestures were wrong. Slight delays, movements too fluid, blinks that didn't line up. This morning it waved first. Jude hadn't raised his hand. Then it mouthed something he couldn't hear. When he leaned in, the message appeared as fog traced words across the glass. You always saw me. You just forgot who looked first. His reflection begins to change first. In real time, Jude's mirror self alters before the changes happen in his body. On April 10th, the reflection shows a scar along the right jawline. That night, Jude wakes with it, fully formed. No pain. On April 11th, the reflection has darker eyes. By morning, so does he. He tests it. He writes X on his collarbone. The reflection shows 2. And 30 minutes later, a second one appears on his skin. Bag number 11, the mirror card. Taped inside the bathroom cabinet. A small black envelope. Inside, a laminated card like a pass. One side reads, entry. Type G. Mirror code 004, Gareth, M12. Authorized access, 3/14". On the back, a barcode. He scans it with his phone. It redirects to a dark website, mirror-he-remembers.net. One image loads, a photo of his bathroom mirror, with him standing in it. But the timestamp is dated, April 11th, 1997. More memories leak through. Jude wakes from short naps with vivid visions. Playing with marbles in an unfamiliar bedroom. A running from a dog that's since been extinct. A hiding in a closet while his own voice calls from outside. He doesn't know these places, but he knows how they smelled. He talks to the reflection. He sits for hours in the dark, waiting for it to move. It does slowly, deliberately. And eventually it speaks aloud, mimicking his voice but twisted deeper. You died in mirrors. They buried you in a boy who wouldn't fight. Jude whispers back. What do you want? The reflection smiles. To remember. To be seen again. To wear something that fits. Bag number 12 appears. Left outside his front door like a morning paper. The label. Subject 004, final glass alignment. Inside, not a vial, but a shard of mirror wrapped in gauze. On the reflective side, words etched by hand. Hold to the eye. Speak the original. He does it. Lifts the shard to his left eye. Feels a twitch. Whispers. Gareth. The shard grows warm, and then dissolves into vapor. His vision in that eye sharpens, colorless, deeper, like seeing through time. 3:14 a.m. The mirror opens. April 11th, 2024. Jude wakes standing in front of the mirror. He doesn't remember walking there. The surface is no longer solid. It ripples faintly like liquid glass. Behind it, a room. Not his. Familiar. Old. Wallpaper torn. A metal cot. A dusty window. The boy in the room stares back. Not a reflection. A person. Jude recognizes him. He saw him in the photo from bag number 5. That's Gareth, he whispers. The boy mouths back. No, that's you. People start forgetting him. His neighbor doesn't greet him. His coworker says, wait, do you rent that place? Thought it was vacant. His mother doesn't answer the phone. Even his voice assistants glitch on his name. I'm sorry, I didn't recognize that user. He tries to log into his bank. Password denied. Security question blank. Name on the account, Jude Everley. Final scene, April 11th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Jude stands before the mirror with his hand pressed against the glass. On the other side, Gareth mimics the gesture. But now they're not the same. Jude's hand trembles. Gareth's is steady. Their fingers overlap and the glass accepts it, no resistance. Jude breathes out. From behind him, his own voice says, let me step forward. You're already gone. The mirror isn't showing a past. It's showing a stored self. Gareth, embedded in Jude's blood, is pulling himself into the present. And soon, he won't need Jude's reflection, he'll need his body. April 12th, 2024, 4:11 a.m. Birmingham, UK. The mirror was still warm. Jude had pressed his hand to it for over an hour, and when he finally stepped back, his palm print remained glowing faintly as if etched by heat from the other side. From the moment he woke up, he didn't feel like he was alone. Not in the flat. In his body. The new layer of skin across his chest was firmer now, paler, with a faint reflective sheen under light. When he pressed on it, it didn't feel like flesh. It felt like glass. Bag number 13 appears. Inside his fridge, wrapped in paper towels, cold as ice. But it wasn't refrigerated. It was growing cold from the inside out. The label. Subject Jude Everley. Exit window 48 hours. First out protocol enabled. Inside, a small circular device like a lens. Glass, with a black vein coiled in the center like a frozen fingerprint. He blinked, then realized he was already wearing it embedded in his left iris. He hadn't noticed until the glass reflected light wrong. Gareth begins taking over. The whispers are gone. Now Gareth speaks. Directly. With force. With clarity. From inside Jude's mouth. I don't want to be a memory. I want to breathe again. Sometimes he speaks through Jude's hands, typing things on his phone Jude didn't intend to write. Sometimes it's in Jude's dreams, except Jude isn't the one moving. And once, in a moment of blank terror, Jude watches his own reflection smile before he does. Someone comes looking. A knock on the door. An older man in a trench coat. Says nothing. Hands over a sealed envelope. Inside. You are not the first. But he is the first to remember the way out. When the mirror opens again, do not stand in front of it. No return address. No signature. Just a small wax seal stamped with the number 004. The same number on Jude's mirror pass. Jude searches the name. He digs through online obituaries. Searches Gareth Everley. Nothing recent. But a 1997 death notice in a local foster home archive turns up. Gareth E. Age, 12. Cause of death, internal hemorrhage. Unknown origin. Buried, no record. Beside it, a scanned photo of a medical record. Blood type, O negative. The same new type Jude has now. His skin begins to shed again. Large strips this time. Across his arms. Behind his knees. The skin underneath is younger looking, but marked faint, geometric shapes, not scars but designs. Like someone drafted this version of him before birth. He peels back a flap behind his ear and sees a sequence of numbers etched beneath. Not a birthmark. A serial. He's been filed. He loses control of his body. April 12th, 9:14 p.m. He drops a glass, but his hand catches it mid-fall. Not his reflex. A stronger one. He watches his fingers rotate slowly. Precisely. Like a pianist warming up. Then they reach for the wall. And begin tracing words. In his own blood. Out. 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 Bag number 14, the interface key. It arrives in his mail slot. No box. No bag. Just wrapped in silk. A tiny fragment of mirror, cracked and webbed at the edges. Inscribed. Final transfer. Key to release. 314 only. He knows what to do. He holds it to the center of his chest. It warms instantly. His ribs creak. And from the mirror in the bathroom, the ripple returns. The final message. Scrawled across his bathroom mirror in blood he didn't see himself draw. Do not interrupt the exit. You were never meant to be the door. You were meant to be the forgetting. Final scene, April 12th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Jude kneels in front of the mirror. His mouth opens. So does Gareth's behind the glass. The two mouths speak at once. It was never your blood. It was always my way back. Jude's body lurches, and then silently splits at the sternum. Not violently. Just opens. Like a set of double doors. From within. A boy's shadow. Walking forward. Wearing his own face. Gareth has passed the threshold. The body has split. The blood has welcomed him. Jude's identity is no longer dissolving, it's been overwritten. And now Gareth walks freely in skin he shaped from memory. April 13th, 2024, 6:09 a.m., Birmingham, UK. He didn't answer to Jude anymore. Not out of resistance. Out of instinct. The name felt too tight now, like trying to wear a childhood coat. When someone called it, it slid right past his ears. But when he whispered Gareth to himself in the mirror, his pupils dilated. His breath deepened. The mirror didn't fog. The apartment rearranges. His furniture shifted slightly each night. Chairs never quite in the same place. Curtains hanging at new angles. The fridge hums in a deeper tone. A new key. When he pulls open drawers, he finds items he's never owned. A gray hoodie, age 12, size small. A folded paper labeled Foster Intake, Subject G4. A photograph of a mirror cracked at the corner with a single word scrawled over it, exited. His blood becomes other. He pricks his finger. The drop that beads out is no longer red. It's silver-black, like mercury threaded with wires. He puts it under a microscope. The cells aren't shaped right. They spiral inward. One frame shows what looks like a pupil in the center of the plasma blinking once. Then gone. He tries again. Same result. This blood sees. Bag number 15 appears. Under his mattress. Larger this time. Heavy. Inside, a folded, handwritten transcript. Mirror entry log subject Gareth, host 004. Status, phase 5 complete. Blood saturation, 100%. Identity overwrite, 97%. Jude, stored. Gareth, autonomous. At the bottom. Once he begins dreaming his own life again, he's fully returned. The dreams return. But not Jude's. He dreams of a schoolroom with no doors. A swing set in winter with no one pushing. Cold hands placing wires under his tongue. In the dreams, people call him by name. Gareth, wake up. They're coming to test you again. He wakes up with that sentence echoing. And blood crusted in his ears. Reflections everywhere. No mirror is safe now. Even his phone screen glitches shows his face younger with shorter hair, a bent nose that no longer exists. TVs turn on by themselves. Always showing bathroom footage from unknown places. He sees himself on screen. 12 years old. Wearing the gray hoodie. Sitting in front of a one-way mirror, whispering. He'll remember me when the blood fits. The blood talks back. He begins hearing full sentences when his veins vibrate. No more whispers. They turned me off in 1997. You turned me back on. This isn't possession. This is restoration. You never existed. You were what grew in my forgetting. Bag number 16, a mirror key. This time it's a shard of spine. Clean. Dried. Pale. Etched down its center. Final key, 314. Welcome back. When he holds it, the mirror across the room shudders. A breeze flows out of it. Smells like dust, salt, and old skin. Others see the change. At a corner cafe, a barista stares. Gareth? He freezes. She gasps. Oh my god. You look just like, never mind. Sorry. She runs to the back. When he checks the receipt, her handwriting spells. Welcome back. His voice begins to split. Recorded audio now plays in 2 tones, one layered beneath the other. The undervoice is childlike. Echoing. Calculated. When he hums, light bulbs flicker. When he sings aloud, a mirror in the hallway cracks from the inside. Final scene, April 13th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. He kneels in front of the mirror. A pulse throbs in the center of his forehead, not pain, but alignment. He breathes once. Then the mirror shows not his face, but a room long buried. The cot. The wire. The blood. A whisper. You're not Gareth's vessel anymore. You're Gareth. You just needed to remember. And his own voice answers without his mouth moving. I do. Gareth has fully emerged. Jude is stored, reduced to a shadow of memory. The mirror remembers. The body remembers. And now the name begins to move through the world, through mirrors, through others. April 14th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Birmingham, UK. The mirror no longer showed reflection. It showed footage. A boy walking down a hospital hallway. Fluorescent lights blinking overhead. Bare feet. A hospital wristband that read, Gareth.004. Blood trailing behind him like it couldn't keep up. Jude, no, Gareth watched from outside the glass. And inside the glass, he watched himself back. People begin responding to the name. He tests it. Introduces himself at a cafe. I'm Gareth. The woman behind the counter blinks 3 times. Her pupils dilate. Her breath hitches. Welcome back, she says. We kept your seat. There's no seat waiting. Until he turns around and sees an empty booth with a napkin folded into the shape of an open eye. Bag number 17, walking protocol. He finds it in the dryer. Still warm. Inside, a single card. Dark red. Edges scorched. Walking name protocol, phase 01. Manifestation permitted. Tracking enabled. Mirrors will stabilize upon host activation. On the back, a blood print. Finger and thumb. When he presses it against his own, they match. And the room grows colder. He sees himself in strangers. Not as doppelgangers, as echoes. A man walking a dog turns and has his eyes for a second. A child on a bus smiles at him with his former teeth before blinking back to normal. At the grocery store, someone walks past and whispers, "There you are." The mirrors connect. Every mirror now shows the same room. An old hospital ward. Abandoned. Dust thick in the air. And in each mirror, a different angle. He maps it out. Realizes the reflections are live. That room exists now. And it's watching him back. Bag number 18, the return list. This one is hand-delivered by a man in gray. He says nothing. Just nods. Disappears before the elevator doors finish closing. Inside the envelope, a list of 26 names. At the top, Subject 004, Gareth, walking name. First of the pulse. The names beneath have 3 columns. Name, status, location. Jude Everley is crossed out. Beside it, stored. Skin reassigned. The body begins to adapt publicly. He steps outside in daylight. People flinch as he passes. Dogs whimper. Streetlights pulse when he walks under them. He orders a coffee. The barista hands it to him before he says anything. "You're already on the register," she says. "What register?" She just smiles and says, "Blood remembers." Bag number 19, the walking name manual. Taped under his toilet tank. Inside, a booklet soaked in old ink. He flips through pages covered in diagrams of bone and blood reshaping. On the final page, the name that walks is not possession. It is the blood's memory waking fully. When the mirrors close, you will be the only reflection left. He stops blinking altogether. April 14th, 8:33 p.m. He stares in the mirror for 45 minutes. Not one blink. Not one twitch. His eyes remain perfectly moist. The whites now streaked with red threads forming circular glyphs. When he finally blinks, it's slow. Deliberate. The eyes don't close evenly. One lags like it's catching up to someone else's rhythm. Final scene, April 14th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. He walks to his bathroom. The mirror doesn't fog. Instead, his own image is waiting inside. Not mimicking. Just watching. It nods. And then walks out of view. From inside the mirror. As if heading towards somewhere he's about to go. He leans in. And from within the glass, his voice says, "Now that the name walks, who gets left behind?" Now that Gareth has fully emerged and begun walking in the world, there's a problem. Not everything from Jude went away. Something or someone remains in the bloodstream. And it remembers. April 15th, 2024, 4:29 a.m., Birmingham, UK. Gareth stood still in the hallway of his apartment, listening. Not to the walls. Not to the pipes. To himself. There was a new rhythm under his heartbeat. Not a murmur. Not arrhythmia. Something intentional. Like a second pulse trying to sync with his, but just slightly off. Trying to catch up. A name returns. He dreams of a hospital again. But this time he's watching from a distance, behind a one-way mirror. On the bed, a boy. Hooked to wires. Blood bags on the floor. Nurses whisper. He still answers to Jude. He jolts awake. The reflection in the dark screen of his TV mouths. "You didn't erase him. You left him under the tongue." Bag number 20, the residual file. Taped to the underside of the desk drawer. Inside, a data stick. It autoruns one document. Residual consciousness report, host 004. Subject Jude Everley shows resistance in marrow memory. 11% activity detected in linguistics. 7% in smell recall. 3% in skin pain response. At the bottom, a warning. Should the stored name become self-aware? Bleeding may reverse. He begins to taste words. April 15th, 11:14 a.m. Certain words hit his tongue with flavor. Jude tastes like iron shavings. Mirror tastes like vinegar. Gareth tastes like sugar water. Each time he says Jude, his mouth floods with metallic saliva. And a voice under his own says, "Stop saying that name." He's looking for the tongue. The tongue splits. That night, brushing his teeth, he sees it. A faint line down the center. Not sore. Just growing. By morning, it's deeper, like a zipper waiting to be pulled. The taste of blood is constant now, even without injury. Bag number 21, bone memory slip. Found in the washing machine, waterlogged but intact. A note. The marrow remembers the original. Host overwrite incomplete. Subject Jude attempting to retrieve stored muscle tension. If he regains a hand, he writes. And beneath the note, a tiny bone chip. When held, his fingers cramp involuntarily. Then flex. Then begin spelling, letter by letter, onto his thigh. "I'm still here." The reflection cracks. For the first time since Gareth's emergence, a mirror doesn't show him. It shows Jude, but not fully. A blurred version. Warped, like a bad photograph trying to sharpen. Jude's mouth moves silently, and Gareth watches his own mouth twitch as if the words are trying to escape backward. The leftover blood speaks. April 15th, 3:14 a.m. His veins pulse without rhythm. Then the sensation turns cold, not numb, cold, as if someone else's breath is moving through the bloodstream. A voice from the fingertips says, "I know you grew the spine. I know you wore my jaw. But you didn't drain me all the way." His hand writes again without control. I remember my own name. People react differently again. Those who once greeted Gareth now look puzzled. Wait, didn't you say your name was Gareth? No. Yes. You look like someone I knew. But not anymore. Even mirrors hesitate. Some show no one. Others show Jude, bleeding from the eyes, smiling softly. Bag number 22, host lock recommendation. Left under his pillow, damp with condensation. Inside, a laminated card with bold black text. Final warning, a host lock required. Residual personality may attempt physical override via skin memory. Engage tongue split protocol. Remove access to the word Jude at all costs. At the bottom, instructions to bite through the tongue. Final scene, April 15th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Gareth sits on the bathroom floor. Mouth open. Tongue trembling. He lifts a mirror shard, points it at his throat, and in the reflection, Jude speaks aloud. "You took the body, but you used my blood to build it." Gareth says nothing, but his eyes flicker red, then brown, then red again. Jude was never fully erased. Blood memory, muscle recall, and marrow storage kept his identity alive. Now, the battle for the body reaches its climax, and the one who speaks last will walk out for good. April 16th, 2024, 3:14 a.m., Birmingham, UK. In the dim glow of the bathroom light, Gareth kneeled in front of the mirror, blade in hand. His mouth hung open, tongue extended, split nearly halfway down its center. The voices inside him weren't whispering anymore. They were arguing. "You wore my name. You forgot your bones. You were a shell built from me. You're nothing without the first wound." And under it all, pulsing in his fingertips and teeth and spine, Jude, still alive, still clinging. The body trembles. His skin began to sweat blood. Not red, not black, both. The left side ran dark and cold. The right glowed warm and faintly gold, as if his veins had diverged, as if two people now lived inside one skeleton, and the bones weren't choosing. The tongue was. Bag number 23, final directive. Delivered by mail. Unmarked envelope. 1 page. Host 004, finalization required. The tongue carries truth. Whomever speaks it first lives. Do not allow the name Jude to form fully. Do not allow the mouth to split. At the bottom, a list of previous failures. All marked. Discarded. He tries to seal the tongue. Gareth ties a strip of fabric around his mouth. Drinks salt water. Sings nonsense syllables to drown out the blood's impulses. But every sound he makes returns to a single vibration. J. 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 The name wants out, not as defiance, as correction. The final reflection. He looks into the mirror, but this time neither face matches his. The reflection shows a mouth split fully down the center. From one side, Jude's voice. "I knew it was borrowed." From the other, Gareth's voice. "I knew it was stolen." Both mouths speak simultaneously. "But I made it mine." Bag number 24, bone knife. Hidden in the freezer, embedded in a block of ice. The handle is polished spine. The blade is a single sliver of sharpened tooth. Attached note. Used to cut the false name. Used to claim the true one. The word Jude is engraved along the edge. He grips it, and his tongue writhes. The blood chooses silence. For the first time in days, the voices vanish. Only Gareth remains. But the silence isn't peaceful. It's waiting. A chamber sealed. A courtroom with no verdict. He knows what's coming. The mouth opens one last time. April 16th, 2024, 3:14 a.m. Standing before the mirror, Gareth raises the knife. His tongue trembles. He opens his mouth to speak, but the voice that escapes isn't his. It's Jude's. Clear. Soft. "This was never yours." And the knife drops. The tongue splits fully. Not torn. Opened. Like a flower. Like a mouth beneath a mouth. And from it, a third voice echoes. "I remember both." The mirror cracks in a perfect circle, and a new face forms in the center. Not Jude. Not Gareth. But something stitched from both. Eyes dark. Veins gold and black. Skin trembling like film on fire. The body settles. His eyes return to brown. His blood ceases to ripple. No more voices. Just breath. And one final note appears in the bathroom sink. Congratulations. The blood has been balanced. Underneath. Name? Subject, postgate carrier. Status, stable. Watched, April 16, 2024, 3:14 a.m. He steps outside into the cold. The air smells different, like metal and dust and memory. A car drives by. The radio crackles. A voice says, "We're tracking one." He has the gate in his mouth. The driver looks up confused, but the voice in the speaker continues. He answers to no name. He walks with two shadows, and his blood belongs to neither.